Welcome, Darnell. We're here with Darnell Brown. He's the founder of Forge. Really excited that he's here. I met Darnell at an event, gosh, a couple of months back, I think now. And he started talking about collaboration and Forge, and I just knew I had to interview him. When we decided to do this series, uh, he was one of the first people that I really connected with on
Mm,
someone else building something with a similar intention, right? It's a different thing, but it's in that space of really supporting us connecting in with each other to to push us all up, to really raise both that fulfillment and impact in entrepreneurship with a very similar set of shared values and intentions. So, welcome, Darnell. I'm thrilled to be interviewing you and to learn from you. You've been at this longer than we have, and and I've had, a few different conversations with you, and I'm excited to kind of dig in and to like really understand, um, you know, why you're bringing your mission out into the world, how you're structuring that, and what you really see as the future of collaborative entrepreneurship or collaboration in these kinds of spaces, as we kind of see the world change. And I think there's a very fast change coming, right?
mm.
My prediction is that um, between, um, I think, an extinction of the current, or I think now outdated model of entrepreneurship of really focusing on individuals and bringing businesses out into the world, to a more collaborative effort, right? And we do that in a lot of different ways. And we're already doing that in a lot of different ways. The communities, how we're coming together in community is shifting and changing, right? The way that we see each other and our resources is shifting and changing. And I think there's a collective experience that's happening and recognizing that we really do need to see each other as collaborators instead of competitors in this marketplace that has kind of become so overly competitive that it doesn't work anymore. That's
Right.
that's really how I see things shifting and changing. And enter AI, right? In the workforce. I think we're going to see a rapid shift of a lot more people migrating into the entrepreneurial and freelancer space to contribute. And so I was excited to learn about Forge. Um, Tell us a little bit about how you created Forge, what really led, um, your desire to launch Forge, and how do you see it shaping the entrepreneurial space?
Yeah, great questions. And
Might have been
thank you
too
for
many
the
questions all at once. Sorry.
it's all good. We'll go through and we'll hit them each one. So firstly, thank you for the invite to be a part of this series. I'm honored to be one of the first people that you had asked about this, and for all that you have said. And yeah, similar to you, I take a person's presence and time extremely seriously. So it's good to be with you in this time, and be focused and not have anything else going on and have just actual attention and be only, immersed and submersed in this. So that's first things. And yeah, when it came to Forge, so almost about 3 years ago, I was coming off of the end of producing a 4 week program for my fellow creative entrepreneurs and thinking about the transformation that I had promised and delivered in that, and saying, well, they're going to likely need more support beyond these 4 weeks. So let me have some type of back end container for my students. So it was that idea, Melissa, combined with I'd been told a bunch of times, especially over the last 5 years or so, that hey, you got great energy. Like that's the one thing about you, and I'd love to be in your orbit, and you should have a community. And if you do, like whether it's a group, no matter what it is, like I'd like to be a part of it. So hearing those two, you know, those were the kind of the seeds that I had combined together, and then I started. my research process and started to pre-sell the idea into existence, meaning get buy-in from people and ask them unique questions, Melissa, such as like from the communities that you are in, like what are some things that you don't like about them?
Right?
What would sway you into joining a new community, like hypothetically, if I created one and just went and started to go down that interview process? And then was just like, okay, this is enough of an idea. I have no time at all to create it because I'm maxed out working at like 200% capacity. I have
Mhm.
no time to create it. I have a list of other things that I need to create, a bunch of books to write, a bunch of podcast episodes to do. So of course I'm going to create it, the community. Of course. You
Yeah.
can't help yourself.
Seems like the
Apparently I'm
perfect time.
perfect time. Apparently I'm a manifesting generator, human design wise too. So
That
this
makes
is
sense.
par for the course. I'm just like, big on ideas, big on execution as well. I don't really wait for others to hop on board or ask for permission to do things.
Yeah.
It's just like boom. And so I went in and I said, you know what? If this bombs, if this fails, if this flops, I need this not to be a knock on my own self-value and see it as something is wrong with me. So to detach myself from external validation, which would be like members actually joining the community.
Yeah.
I have to create a win in some way. I need to see something about this as something that I can celebrate no matter what happens.
Okay. I
And the
like that
irony is
approach.
and the irony is you're building something that you need other people to buy in so that you can keep the thing going. Like you have to turn it into a business at some point.
Yeah.
So I did two things. I did two things to change my metric for success. One was I said it's not going to be a business yet. It's not even going to be a hobby. This is just an experiment. So I made the project like a lot smaller and personal. Second thing I did was I made I did not publicly build it. I didn't even build it in public. I said internally, Darnell, this is a promise to myself. Can I be a person that does what they say that they're going to do? And I said, well, what's my promise to myself? And my promise was, okay, I'm going to sign up for a 2 week trial at Forge. I don't have to pay them anything, but if I can build the space and make it look good and nice and welcoming, and I can start to invite people to it within 2 weeks, then I'll go on to the next step.
Okay.
So
I like
again,
it. Call it like
I
a
took away
sprint.
it's a sprint. I took away the external validation. So no matter what, as long as I did what I said I was going to do to my own promise, then I would move on to the next step. And kind of the rest is history from that point in time.
I
But
was gonna say we could
uh,
guess.
yeah, yeah.
It worked
So
out.
it worked out. And then I kept, you start to go deeper down that rabbit hole because every person that you interact with, A, knows something that you don't. Every person that you meet knows
Hmm.
something that you don't. And B, if you are open to it, people enlighten you in all sorts of ways because people are whole worlds onto themselves. They
Yeah.
have their own challenges, their own their own successes, their own wins, their own history that you know nothing about, and all of a sudden you're in the same space at the same time and you treat that with the validity that it's worth, which is just like, yo, this person chose to be here in this time. And something that I put out or a series of things that I put out resonated enough with this person that they said, you know what, I want to be closer to this. And I
Mm.
want to collaborate and I want to co-create. And the way that he he expresses this community makes me want to be a part of it and I'm willing to to vote with my pocketbook or my wallet by paying to be a part of this experience
Yeah.
and you know nothing about that person before then so you're digging into all of that and you're digging into man like my reasons for creating it originally have changed from what it is now. But I think that's the point. That's the point when you say this is going to be a community for an ecosystem, emphasis on ecosystem, an ecosystem community where we are co-equal experts. And so
Yeah.
you're already, Melissa, inviting people into a space to build with you. I liken it to like me being the one to choose this wall, this brick wall and throwing up a few brushstrokes and saying, "Hey, you walking down the street right now, like, why don't you come and paint something on here? And you too, and you too, and you way across the street, and you in a different city. Just come paint one thing on it." And at the
Hmm.
end of this experiment, we'll look back at what a mosaic that we've all like created together.
Yeah.
Because that's the special part about it. Is just like what happens when you invite people to be a part of the process.
Yeah.
Because
That
if you do,
co-creation.
that co-creation. And when you do, people open up, man. Like you're like, oh snap, we're very values aligned. We watch the same type of movies. We're attracted to the same type of stories, like on a
Hmm.
personal level. Then professionally, forget about it. Even if me and you do the exact same thing, Melissa, we serve the
Right.
exact same client, we got the exact same experience. I bet you that there are periods where you have overflow and I'm in slumps. And now that you have
Yeah.
someone to refer business to, like I can have
And
some of the clients that you can't serve.
even if we do the exact same thing, odds are we're still such unique humans that we're more aligned to some people than others. And knowing that about each other because we've connected and we have a relationship because we're co-equal. And we now recognize that distinction between us, right? Yes, 100%. And I love how you call out this kind of keystone. I kind of see it as like a keystone, right? Of if you can bring people into a community who simply see each other as co-equal, like that alone opens up living all of these other values, right? In our conversation before, you talked about like vulnerability, right? And unlocks these behaviors, like when you come into a space where you automatically come in as co-equals, like you've structured that, like, you've set that expectation, it unlocks these other things.
That's exactly, and that's really what I want people to see. I'm just like, no, I haven't heard of any community on the planet that's been built with that foundational principle that has it as a part of their basic guidelines,
Right.
like for you to even sign up to be a part of it, like it's there in fine print. So you can't miss it. You have to resonate with that idea, and because if you don't, you're not going to be a good fit. Because
Right.
I do think to your point around collaboration, that's another one of the key facets of it is like I think hierarchical structures are also being dismantled. And if you can disrupt that thinking of to say, I,
Mm.
the person Darnell, I have all of this experience and all of this power as a designer and a brand strategist. And instead of using it nefariously, I prefer to share it and spotlight others. And so you can't just give lip service to that, Melissa. Like, how do you actually practice that in real life? And for
Right, right, right.
me, examples of that would be like, okay, well, I'm gonna share things with Forge that I wouldn't share anywhere else, because I think to it's easy to share your highlight reels, but it's harder to share the stuff that didn't work with people so that you can save them from making those same mistakes. To
Sure.
say, to say, hey man, I failed a bunch of times. I'm going to show you the receipts of me failing, the stuff that I
Yeah,
don't share on social media anyway, both because Forge is about depth and
yeah,
not about broad things that I can, like high level things and like low hanging fruit and all of that
yeah,
stuff. That's
yeah,
for social media. But if we're here to talk about depth, if we're here to be co-creators and collaborators, I have to do first what I want y'all to do. If I
yeah.
want y'all to open up, I need to lead by example, right? I
Yep.
need to
You're
talk
really
about the
connecting
things
in
I
at
don't
a
share
totally different level.
at a completely different level because again, it's easy to give lip service to that co-equals. That
Right.
sounds nice, but on paper, but it's like, oh yeah, well, Darnell, like I'm still the person that founded it, so I still lead in some ways. But my thing is, okay, well, what happens? I'm going to share the things that are uncomfortable, the uncomfortable truths. I'm going to take myself on my own experiments and have a space called test and digest, where it's just like, I'm scared of doing this thing, Melissa, and everyone else. I'm scared of doing this, but this is why I'm doing it anyway. And I'm going to tell you what happens at the end of this experiment, by the way, so that you have some
I
frame
love
of
that.
reference for your own journey. Like, that's just like one way of, again, being like, let's dismantle
And some
hierarchy completely.
accountability and openness to, so it's accountability, vulnerability, right? And it's bringing people in at that level of co-equal.
When it's what
I love that.
it's like, how do you go from just lip service to being able to walk the talk? And I think that that's how you do it. And I gotta credit Pat Flynn. He's one of the OGs in the game in terms of like from the internet marketing space. Like he was easily the most vulnerable person that I saw at the success level that I had. Like he was one of his biggest thing was like he would post his income reports on his website for everyone to see, and he would talk about his expenses. Like he used to be like, "Yeah, I had a $30,000 month or $100,000 month, but my expenses were $95,000, just as an example. And here's every little thing that I spend." And I'm just like, no one gives you a
Wow.
lens into like these types of numbers. We see, oh, have a a 5-figure month, a 7-figure month, but we don't see how much a person has spent. We don't see,
Yeah.
okay, they could be going through marital stress, kid stress, all of these things. We see the highlight reels, but who's talking about the ugly truths, the messy middle, all of those things? So it's just like, yeah, when you to that point, Melissa, it's just like you can give lip service to what a co-equal is, but to actually practice it and to make people feel that way, you need to consistently show up with things that would give a person a reason to feel and believe that they are co-equal to you, that I'm
Yeah.
not above you, that I'm no better than you, that I'm no smarter. And from there, Melissa, now we can collaborate because
Right.
I'm not better than you. So
Yeah. You
we're
can't
in this
enter into
together
collaboration until you get there, until you
until you get there.
forge those types of relationships.
You That's what I'm saying. Because otherwise it's just false. You're going to be dealing with things like power dynamics and all of that and and hoarding, but it's just like, no, if we're on the same level and if we really want to create something together, I care about you. I care about your success. I'm going to hold you accountable for the things that you say that you're going to do and vice versa. That
Yeah.
rising tide lifts all boats, and we're actually making it's gone from idea to action. Because one of the sayings that I have is like actions actually over ideas. So actions over ideas. I think great ideas are a dime a dozen. I think great ideas are very easy to find, but it's acting on those. It's executing, it's implementing, it's putting in the hard yards, especially when it isn't fun. It's easy to
Yeah.
do it if I'm all energetic and I'm in an event with you but it's like after that ends and you go off
Right.
into your own world, how do you maintain what you said that you were going to do and
Right.
keep that thing going? And I have the humility in that way, Melissa, to be like, I don't have all of the answers to how you do that, but
Right.
I know that I'm surrounded by other smart people in the same space. So when we talk about it, when we flesh it out, when we break down those barriers, we all arrive at a more objective reality.
I love that. And it's probably the number one foundation in collaborative entrepreneurship is is really learning how to enter into that kind of relationship and community, right? In that enter into that kind of relationship with your ecosystem, right? Um, with an ecosystem that aligns to where you're headed, right?
Right.
Um, Tell me about well, how did you decide to structure Forge the way you structured it, right? To support that. And did you, what kind of came first? The realization about I know it's been like a series of experiments for you, and it's this co-created space, which is amazing because you've created something that's so needed. Um, but how do you find that the structure of Forge really supports that? Tell us about like how you made the decisions to structure it the way that you structured it.
Yeah, so it would have started back in 2023 from already knowing on a fundamental level, this had to be a space for co-equal experts. I just knew that early on. It
Right.
didn't take inviting people into it to know that that was going to be a core
That
tenet of the entire thing.
the
So that was like
keystone
a
was there.
keystone, non-negotiable. Another keystone
Yeah.
was it can't be a Facebook group because I probably have ADHD. I'm probably neurospicy. So like a lot of distractions isn't they aren't good for being able to execute on ideas. So we need this to be a distraction-free growth lab. So those
Yep.
two things like already off top like began with it. When it came to structuring it and seeing what that how that looks like in practice, it was co-creation actually. But it was co-creation in a way that I didn't think it would be, which was when you have when you foundationally say that I have the humility to recognize that I don't have all of the answers and that I need to create whatever forge is going to be with other people, and you're
Yeah.
inviting them into the process. You're going to run into walls, like everything that things that you thought would work wouldn't be a hit, like spaces that you thought would matter, and you got
Yeah.
this content library. It's just like that's not even the best thing about it to a lot of people. And you can say, oh, okay, well, I need to do more of what people are asking for and where they're already gravitating, or I need to be attracting a different type of member, or I need to force feed them down their throat anyway. I liken it to having like a pizzeria with 20 different pizza options, but everyone is going for like the Italian pizza or something, or the
Right.
veggie
The
pizza.
plain cheese that's on the counter.
The plain cheese that is on the counter, and you could say, well, I could lean into that as a business. I could lean into that a little bit more, and
Yeah.
like and play that up and blast that everywhere. Or I could go a different direction. So
Hmm.
it was just structure. It was just like you. I started to think in metaphors, which I usually do, and analogies. I think that way anyway. So I said, well, this is a virtual space right now, but it might be a hybrid space in the near future. But as long as it's a virtual space and it's an intimate space in the sense of it's a small, as a, in those early days, smaller community, micro community, this has to feel like a perpetual housewarming party or a perpetual block party, in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you're welcoming people into a space and you want to grab their jacket, hand them a mint or something, and say, "Hey, Melissa, the party's happening in the kitchen right now," which is usually where people gravitate to, just depending on how your house is designed, right? So people are
Hmm.
grabbing. All of the action is happening here, or a lot of action is happening here. You might have a jungle gym, you might have these other rooms you want to show people, but all of this action is happening here.
Yeah.
And it's hard for that person, for you, for you know you want people to introduce themselves into this community that they know few people, but what if they're introverted? And
Yep.
analogically, that could look like, okay, a person has just entered the house and everyone has stopped to look at what that person is doing, but they're an introvert, and we're just like, hey, come on over here, everybody's waving at you and we want to know everything about you and all of these things,
Yeah.
but that person might not have that energy. So it's just like you have to. I think that the answer was structuring it in a way to make each person feel immediately seen and heard and understood and valued as a human from the moment that they enter their doors. But it's so you need strong onboarding game. But
Yeah.
offboarding is as important as onboarding. Like, you want to leave people with a good taste in their mouth, because people have all types of reasons for why they leave and everything.
Sure.
Why should onboarding be the holy grail, and then your offboarding isn't on point? Or when a person leaves,
Hmm.
leave the community just temporarily, in the sense of like they go log on somewhere else, but they're coming back. So you do that by catering their journey throughout the community, like based on their personality type. So once I had the idea for that, that meant that I could say, okay, if you intend on using Forge occasionally, regularly, or frequently, here's the right path for you, because you want to give people a path, but you don't want to
Yeah.
pigeonhole them at the same time, because people like to explore in their own ways. But if
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
kind of give it a basic personality test to say, well, how do you intend to use this community? These would be the spaces worth your time. These are the things that you should
Yep.
visit, and to do that in video format so that you can see me and get closer to me, and see my energy and all of this stuff. So I
Yep.
recorded videos. I walked them through. I offered people like short calls to like walk them through things personally, if that works for them. Like, they can just hop on my Calendly and do it
Wow.
that
Yeah.
way. So it's just like you're structuring it in a way to, again, make them feel welcomed, one person at a time, not like a number, not because they're not like a number on a spreadsheet. Like, how do you treat this person as a whole human, and how do you
Hmm.
do that at scale eventually, which will be a challenge at a certain point, but for now it's not. I'm personally with them, and I recognize their names and whether or not they have kids, and what they're going through, and I check in with them. It's just like seeing the whole person consistently, and caring about their problems, but making them feel warm enough, Melissa, to come into this space
Yeah.
and prompt them with a small action that leads into a bigger action because
Yep.
engagement is important and you don't want them there to get lost or to say no one welcomed me and all of these things. So you want to give people certain on ramps and off ramps and keeps the actions light enough, light and fun enough for them to feel like, hey, I can do this and I can, so instead of saying hi to the whole community, maybe it's just, hey, make a friend, make one friend. Just
Right. You're the host at the
I'll
door.
you're the host at the door, just one person.
Yep.
And that one
And it can
action,
make a
it
huge
starts to work
difference,
out.
can't it? You know what I mean? If you use the analogy, if you show up to a party, it makes a world of difference to be greeted by
Mm.
that one person who can, say, "Hey, come on in the kitchen. This is where we're hanging out."
Ask to take your coat, hand you a drink or something at the door, like, like a housewarming would.
Hmm.
And when you feel that warm of a welcome and you haven't felt it anywhere else, that type of stuff sticks with you, Melissa. Like you might
Yeah.
show up every day for that reason. Like you're on a high at that point. And this is before you get to the actual value of the community. This is just onboarding. This is
Well,
just
and
how
so
a
what
person
you're
was
doing is you're
welcomed.
modeling that co-equal relationship
Yeah,
in your
exactly.
community.
Exactly. You're modeling it. You are reminding them too, because repetition is important, Melissa. Like we sometimes need to hear the same thing several different times. So I remind them all the time, hey man, I'm no better, smarter, or skilled or more skilled than you. Even if that's true, even if I am all of those things, I personally don't believe it. And I don't want you to believe it either. Because once
Yeah.
we start to bring that energy in here, of if I am better than you, if I am more successful than you, then it's a personality driven community. Then I have all of the answers, then it's just my
Hmm.
way of doing things. But no, it's just like, no, that's not what that is not what this is going to be about. Because to your point around collaboration, I think that's probably one of the reasons um we even become entrepreneurs in the first place. We felt agitation in traditional workplace structures, which usually have a degree of hierarchy in them. You
Right.
know, you're a subordinate. You got to go up the chain of command to get things approved, like vacation time and stuff. So if we have the chance to disrupt all of that, and we became entrepreneurs to have more time freedom anyway, to be able to go on vacation when we want to, and all of this stuff, to not have income ceilings,
Right.
then why wouldn't we disrupt our relationships with one another if we're all peers? We're all peers anyway.
Yep.
There will always be more problems than there are problem solvers. So let's be problem solvers, because there's a whole world of other people who need what we have to offer. And when we have these private conversations, when we work on things together, Melissa, then we go into these larger communities like a LinkedIn, just as an example, and then our relationships with our clients change because we all recognize that, hey, the leverage in these relationships is kind of lopsided. Like we're the creators, like we are extremely important to just society as a whole. Like we documented everything. Like before cameras took photos, like we drew, history and stuff, and put it up on walls and everything. Like we're extremely valuable to the human experiment. So we should be earning whatever we're worth and whatever we demand, but we got to treat ourselves differently. We have to expect differently. And again, Melissa, we wouldn't even be able to articulate things in those terms until we're in rooms with co-equals in the first place, to be like, yeah, you know what, that does ring true. That does, like why haven't I been demanding differently? I've been settling, actually. I'm an
Yeah. Yeah.
entrepreneur, but
Yeah.
I'm settling, and I'm price gouging, and I'm competing on price. It's things like that, because I'm
It
interested
is. It's
again.
yeah. You're really reestablishing the relationship that you have with yourself as a creator, and the relationship that we can and should have with each other, that empowers, right? That collaborative um, approach, that collaborative initiative of bringing that all together. Um, for that, we always say, because it really unlocks so much more stability. It unlocks so much more success, and it unlocks so much more potential and impact when we can do that together. But, you know, that relationship with ourselves and with each other needs to change. And I love that that's what the foundation of what Forge does in there.
And to your point, and I'm getting chill bumps just thinking about it, of just like I didn't know it at the time, Melissa, but I ended up creating what I needed myself when I
Yeah.
reflect back on it. because I was the self-imposed head down person, super person in my business, doing all of the things, bookkeeper, accountant, designer,
Yeah,
contact person. When you're an entrepreneur, no one teaches you how to do all of those things. And even if you could hire out, you A, don't know how to delegate, and B, don't have the budget to hire other people anyway. So your head's down working on
right.
it. So that was me, like for the 15 years pre-creating Forge, of just like head down doing this all myself. But that
Yep,
was also a mild case of OCD in that I was worried that the people that I wanted to work with wouldn't meet my standard of like the quality and respect that I have for
yeah,
myself, that they would let me down. And so
yep,
you're trying to save yourself from disappointment. And it's just like, Melissa, you wouldn't, you wouldn't believe how many other people that have passed through for us that were like on the exact same wavelength, head down, doing all of the things. And this is like, yo, what happens when we all lift our heads up? You recognize how alike you are, A, and then B, it's just like, wow, it didn't have to be like this for the last 15 years. I could have been working with my peers. We all would have been building together. Everyone's eating as well too, and everyone's
yeah,
fulfilled. And you're having
yeah,
joy, impact, and
yeah,
you're not on the gig hunt because everything is coming your way at that point. And
yeah,
so it's just like, dang, like that's the connection point. So
yeah. How do you feel? What do you feel is needed for people to, beyond starting to really build those co-equal relationships? But take that apart for me. What is needed, do you believe, for people to move from being in community with each other to creating, to recognizing and creating opportunities together?
yeah, so I think it starts with, I think, recognizing, okay, is this like co-equal energy, even if
Sure.
it's not in force, just outside of that. But to get to co-equal energy, Melissa, which is important to the other part of your question, you have to be willing to challenge your own notions, meaning everything that you thought that you knew about anything, to say, I got to approach everything with a beginner's mindset. Like, how can you add, you can't add more water to a cup that's already full. So if you bring hubris and pride and your accolades and your experience to every
Yeah.
relationship, like you're coming with unneeded baggage in the first place. So you gotta come as kind of an empty vessel of just saying, you know what, I'm about to enter uh, an interview with Melissa, and she may say things that challenge my whole belief system. But instead of being offended at that, or like standoffish, it's just like lean into that a little bit. Like, why? And that's
Because now that I
usually,
just, in your analogy, I see the cup just like now it's just flowing over
it's
with
just
water and
overflowing, just
just
overflowing,
making
and just
a
and
big
and that
mess.
and that's the thing. So we have to be willing to challenge our own notions, meaning you're open enough to recognize that everything that you thought was true could be dismantled. A lot of things can be demystified. Scientists are finding new things all the time, new planets and stuff, like knowing that there was nine back when I was in grade school, but now there's like a bunch
Right?
more and stuff. So things get demystified all of the time. And you got to be willing to say, wait, well, hold up now, Melissa. There were nine planets when I learned about it. So what's all this other jazz? And me holding on to my outdated belief system,
Yeah.
which is crippling, which is stifling and stunning my own growth. So you have to be willing to say,
Yeah.
man, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
enter conversations with people. They may ask me questions or challenge my belief system, but I
Yep.
have to be okay with that. And in fact, I shouldn't run from that. I need to lean into that because
Yeah.
it starts with having conversations about stuff and like
And they
recognizing
often show up.
that you don't
Yeah. Yeah.
that
And
you
they
don't know
often show up
everything.
as little stuff like, I don't believe that's possible. Right? Like, I,
Right.
I don't think that will work because I've tried that before and I don't believe it works. Like, little, I mean, even little stuff like that coming in with these beliefs about what will work and what won't work and what people want and what people don't want and what's possible. Right? Um, I'm blown away all the time about what is actually possible, right? In very little ways, right?
What?
Um,
And that's
that
it.
make a huge
And that's
difference
it.
because you come in with different experience and different knowledge and a different world view around something, right? Um,
And
yeah,
that's how
all
and,
the
and that's
time.
how and that's how and that's to answer your question. It's just like be willing to challenge my notions, lean into the things that make me uncomfortable, the things that I thought that I knew. And from there, collaboration becomes possible, Melissa, because now it's just like, well, we need to take action on ideas that we already have. We got great ideas, but limited action. How do we start to execute? Well, sometimes it's going to involve pivoting. It's going to involve like dismantling everything that you probably thought that you liked doing or your business direction and saying, okay, this isn't working. I need to try something new. Something new is sometimes as simple as working with someone else. And if I'm willing to do that, there's a whole world of opportunity that begins to open up because I've opened myself up to those possibilities in the first place. And I have to know that within my core that it's just like, yo, I'm in the business of growth, me, the person
Right.
Darnell, and I am in the business of growth. And the only way to grow is to bring that beginner's mindset to the proceedings and say, you know what? I'm pretty fluent at this point in the French language, but I could always go back to basics and learn just the alphabet and not think I know it all because there are small little indentations and things. Michael Jackson too. He was still watching, had his career watching videos of James Brown, who he was watching ever since he was a kid. You're the king of pop, best entertainer in the world, and you're still
Yeah.
watching videos of a guy you surpassed decades ago.
Yep.
Because again, there's always something to learn, man. There's always something to.
It
So that's
that and
that's
your
how you do
analogy
it.
of that cup half full, not because it's a pessimistic viewpoint of coming in anything, but because you're available to receive the other
Boom.
half of that cup. And I think even more importantly, so that's a huge, not more importantly, equally importantly is what you got rid of going into that, right? So there's the availability mindset of I'm willing to take in, but there's what was in that cup already that isn't helpful in this relationship.
And we call that unlearning. To your point, unlearning is as important as learning. Because again, why are you even holding on to those belief systems? I mean, usually when you peel back all of the onion layers, you recognize that, oh yeah, it's a script. I'm just repeating a script. I saw this
And
growing
we
up in
worked
my
really hard to
household.
get that script in place, by the way,
Yeah,
right?
and sometimes it was thrust on us. Sometimes it
Sure.
happened in your household. Like you're just a
Yeah.
witness to
Right, right, right.
things.
Yeah.
So you got to be willing to address that and be like, oh, well, that was the wrong way of doing things.
Yep.
Daddy shouldn't have been treating mommy that way.
Right.
And now that's going to inform the new relationships that I get into. Because if you don't,
Yep.
you end up repeating who your parents are and stuff anyway. So it's unlearning. I
Yeah.
love that you said that because that's true. That is you're right. It's equally important as the learning part. That's
Hmm.
true. We have to unlearn some things, man. We have to
Yeah.
know, hold up, this is obsolete now. This has been disproven. I got the facts now. I
Right.
got the facts have been tested multiple times in
Yeah.
multiple scenarios. Like this
And
is a
even,
hardcore truth now.
right. Well, and even the stuff that like we worked hard to prove in our careers and as entrepreneurs, right? About um what we do in our elevator, like really like trying, and I'm like I'm coming from a place of having coached in that space. And I'm still a firm believer in deeply understanding why the work you do is so important and having clarity around, your contribution. But we worked really hard to prove ourselves, right? And a lot of that proving cemented us into these outdated vessels of how we can contribute, right? Of how that almost can block us from getting to that co-equal, that block us from getting to that receiving point because we're still in that prove it mentality, right?
Yep.
Um,
Yep,
yeah. And
1000%. And
then you
that's
add in all of that conditioning, all of those old
yeah.
beliefs about the world and our worldview. And
And
yeah,
it's just layered,
layer, layer, layer. Yeah.
layer. And then you gotta remove all of that. A lot of it is junk. There's
Yeah.
probably a little bit of nutrition in there, but a lot of it is junk food.
Right, right,
And
right.
then see who's underneath there and who's at your core. And I'm just like, that's probably why one of the best things that a person could be doing is practicing a strong degree of self-awareness, a strong degree of recognizing your
I
own
think
thoughts and being willing to sit with yourself.
And that is all you need to start with, right?
Yeah.
Just the awareness of that feeling, that attachment, that belief may not be true. Show up anyway to it, right? Show up anyway to receiving information around it that doesn't, that may contradict it. And
And
I
that's
think, yeah,
and I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just gonna say, and that's probably why, I've been so attracted to principles of like of Stoicism and Buddhism. I'm agnostic anyway,
yeah,
but I've heard that if I was a religious person, probably Buddhist would be the one
yeah,
that most aligns probably with my views. Because again, it's to that point of just like practicing radical self-awareness and self-love and self-grace, so that no one can compromise you, so that you're always willing to receive, and not be too attached and too possessive of your ideas, of your physical attachments, all of those things, and be willing to let it all burn and just practice equanimity and being like, there's chaos all around me, and I'm going to be calm. I'm going to get my bearings together and not overreact about anything, and say, well, I'm no one can destroy this piece of self that I have. But when I go out into the larger public and start interacting with people, yes, you can't change people, you can't force them to do things, you can't control a lot of things, but we control our responses, and then it's just like, yo, I'm not less than anyone. Like me, the person telling myself that often, I'm not less than them. I'm amazing. I'm a powerful creator, a powerful attractor. All of these things, which are true, which are fact, and on constantly, but also at the same time, check yourself. Don't like hubris. Don't have hubris. Don't go in thinking that you know everything, because I'm telling you, people, you can be enlightened, and sometimes the ways that you're enlightened could change your life and your business for the better if you're open to it. And
if you're
so we
open,
don't
yeah.
want to be shooting ourselves in the foot, so
Yeah. Oh, I love that. This has been so fantastic. I can't wait to continue, this conversation. And
same.
I'm excited to explore how, our communities can interact with each other and how, we can partner and collaborate because um, it's such a crucial, it's such a crucial foundation. I love what you're building. I actually can't wait to join it. I haven't joined it yet. Um, I plan on doing that right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for all of this insight. Um, it's a it's a space we're both really excited about and see so much potential in, and um, I'm thrilled for all of it. So thank you.
Yeah, same here. And I appreciate your questions. They were excellent. I never got asked these questions before. And
Yep.
I've talked to a bunch of people over the last 18 months. You've asked questions that I have not received before. The depth of which you ask them, your curiosity, your enthusiasm is infectious, it's contagious. Like, don't
Well,
stop that at
ditto.
all. Don't stop it. Like, and you freestyle these questions. Just as you said, you don't have a list and stuff. They come to you. So that's a superpower that is worth
Thank you.
taken to the next level, man. Of just like a great person, yeah, just to talk to, and that's also powerful with collaborations and stuff too. Sometimes people just need the floor, man, to express themselves. And
Mhm.
when we're open, when we're interested enough in another person, magic happens. Co-creation happens, because I love working with that person. Like, they make me feel better. I'm better with
Yeah.
them. They left me better than I found them. My day was brightened after an interaction with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, and you
And
leave
that's
with that
magic.
energy. And I think just showing when we, collectively show up with curiosity, we can see so much more potential. Um,
That's
yeah,
curiosity
totally.
that's it. That's curiosity. You can't teach it. All you can do is put yourselves in situations where you're allowing that curiosity to spring up naturally,
Yeah.
because you're in an environment that's just inherently more interesting to you, and then by its own interest, you're just like, what's that? What's that? This does what? This does what? I'm gonna turn these knobs. I'm gonna move these
Yeah.
things.
But then that's what you're doing. You're creating an environment, right? Where you set the table for it. And it's so needed. It's so amazing. Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
cool.
Thank you.
We're gonna include information about how to learn more about Darnell and how to learn more about Forge in the interview notes. So we'll put that there and any other information that Darnell wants you to know and have. We'll make sure that that's there. And stay tuned because I'm sure that you'll see more of Darnell,
Yeah, yeah.
both on
And
our
Sam,
channels and
yeah,
his once
exactly.
you join his network. So
And I'm sure y'all see more of Melissa Davis as well too. I appreciate y'all for watching and or listening. And we'd love to know what you thought about this episode. Yeah, thank you, Melissa. Looking forward to chopping it up with you again soon.
awesome.